Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It's really beautiful to have so many spaces here, everyone's sharing good food and seeds, and grateful to be able to show you our garden. You know, that's 6 years in the making. I mean, like the larger property is my parents, and they've been here for over 20. So yeah, they've done a whole lot as well, and we've come along and sort of retrofitted and added lots to the garden. We also built this house. There's a little photo here. You can see that. Pass that around if you want. So we started with a little caravan in a shed and
2 kids.
Yeah, and yeah, we've had the opportunity to build. So yeah, it's been a step-by-step, slow progress, but doing each chunk at a time. So started with the kitchen, and then this deck, and the bathroom most recently. So yeah, the timber here is from the property. So this is a hickory and black wattle. So it's actually just trees that were right here. Yeah, so we've used as much timber from the property as possibly can, got that milled up. We've bought a bunch of new stuff, but mostly it's freshly milled. And yeah, it's really rewarding to use our own timber. And yeah, it's looking forward to showing around. So this is here is a plan of the property. If you had a little quick look at it, so this is what I do all the time, is actually design permaculture landscapes. So it's like have my own permaculture plan. Took a while. One of those things. It's like I had it all in my head, but then yeah, I really needed to get down to share it with you all. So it's probably the most challenging plan I've ever done, because it's a big retrofit. There's so many different funny gardens all over the place that were already here, and having to work around it, and in the slope and existing trees, and so yeah, and it's actually changed a lot. So when we arrived, the chicken coop was over there where the veggie gardens are, and that's actually not a very good spot for a chicken coop, because we were sleeping there, and first thing in the morning there was a rooster and chickens. So that was the first thing we had to change. So it's like being a retrofit all along the way.
And a bit like that Tetris game, where to do that, we've got to move that, and we need it to move there, but there's something there that needs to be moved.
Yeah. So there was trees here at some point. So this is like in permaculture zoning, like the zone 4, like the rainforest, like the outer zone. But then that shifted to our zone 1 being here with the veggie gardens and our quick pick greens, and then this became like our zone 2, 3, which is like the main crops, things we grow throughout the year, but don't necessarily have to go there all the time. So our zoning's changed depending on how things have shifted for us and how the house has grown. And so I think that's as much as you can get a plan happening, and there's always that change. So we can help get that started for you, but yeah, it's good having those plans set in place, or those things you can imagine in the future, but sometimes you can't always.
Yeah, and sometimes things have their functional purpose. Like just mid last year, we took out all of the elderberries just along here, which we planted initially because they grow really fast, and we needed privacy because that was our outdoor shower, which you can't even see over there anymore, but you could see right through to these glass doors that kind of led out to nowhere. This was like a fire pit area, and now we don't need the privacy because we've got our shower bathroom outside here. So we took out some of the elderberries to let in more light, and even though this is our zone 1 quick pick vegetable garden, it doesn't get much light, whereas the garden up at the top gets more light. And we inherited that with bathtubs and bricks and all sorts of random edging, which created a lot of weed edging. So our process is to use hay bales to establish a garden for 1 season, let it build the soil, and then we just freeform, which you'll see when we go on our walk. That's how we do it now, and it's much more easy to maintain, less resources required. Bathtubs we've used as worm farms that work much better that way. They were fine during winter, but when summer would come and we get all the wet season, they'd just fill up and all of our plants would fall over. So drainage is really important.
Yeah. So few environmental conditions here. Obviously, we're in the rainforest, and we've got the bush turkeys and the wallabies and the bandicoots and all those things that just want to eat and dig. But having a little fenced off area around the house has made a big difference to be able to grow so much more. And I think the rooster has a lot to do with the bush turkeys too. They don't seem to have all the chickens. They don't see many bush turkeys anymore for some reason. So I think it's been a good change. Still get the bandicoots, but that's okay, and we can manage that. And so just be able to work with this site, with the animals, and the soil too. We're on heavy clay and shale, so and irrigate with the bore water. So with that, there's a whole lot of minerals coming into it. So just learning about applying gypsum and lime and heaps of organic matter.
Chopping and dropping all the time. So we've got lots of plants for that, lots of banana and cassava and turmeric, but there's just heaps of ornamentals as well that you can use to chop and drop.
One question, where does the sun rise here?
Yeah.
East.
West. So this is our northeast, which is
There's something that a lot of people don't consider when building a house or building a garden or growing certain crops is where they're going to get the afternoon sun or the morning sun.
Yeah.
And that's something really worth considering.
Yeah.
And mentioning to beginners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it could mean huge success or huge or struggle,
That's right.
struggle
Yeah, so-
and with the building.
So because I have the rainforest in the north, so when it comes winter, the sun ducks down and actually rises sort of in winter through all those trees there. So we don't get too much sun in the veggie garden here up until like 9-10 o'clock. So there's that, and then the sun sets and it's sort of having these veggie gardens here, we don't get too much sun. That's why we have other big veggie garden up the top there. That gets lots more sun. So definitely considering times of the year. When the sun tracks further south in summer, the veggie garden up there gets no sun at all because it's actually behind the rainforest. So it's that's, but we incorporate lots of perennials into it. So there's always perennial spinaches and fruits and spices growing around the edges of the garden. So there's always something to eat regardless whether.
Beautiful ulysses.
Yeah, we have worked with them here. Yeah.
Where?
The Ulysses, the blue one over there.
Have you got the
Euodia.
growing here?
Euodia.
We haven't planted it, we just have enough natives here that
Beautiful.
but that's the part of retrofitting. We didn't start here with a blank canvas, and it just doesn't seem right to cut down forests just to create sunlight for us. And there's so many plants that we have so much in our garden that we can work with in those two sun spots and everywhere else in between. So
Yeah. Well, I think we can go for a walk and ask any questions. And Lisa?
Can I ask a question? What would you say to people who feel like they can't grow food all the way through the year in the tropical monsoon area?
Well, this is what I drew up the other day for my students. And some people found it helpful because we have lots of people move here from places outside of the tropics. And there's patterns, and our pattern up here, first of all, like you said, with the sun, we start with our location. So if we're present where we are right now, and we're wanting to create our space around us, we have the directions, north, east, south, and west. So ideally, you want to have a sun capture area on your northeast side. You want to open up your space on your east to let the sun through, and on your west you can see there we've got a big Rollinia, and we've also got passion fruit stacked on that, and on the left of that is a mulberry. So So these are deciduous. They lose their leaves during winter, which lets light in when we need it. And they create a full canopy during summer to give us some sun protection in the afternoon. So you want to place your dwelling where you've got the shortest part of the house on the west and you're not getting all of that full sun, and just design for the right solar capture. And then we work with the moon as well. So we've got new moon, first quarter, full moon, and third quarter. And there's different things that we do in those patterns as well. So from new moon to first quarter is a really good time for all of your leafy greens, anything that you eat the leaf from, food-wise. And then first quarter to full moon is anything that's fruiting. So the flowers or the fruits that you eat from that. And then from full moon to third quarter is a good time for your root crops and for propagating, and also composting as well, so chopping and dropping. And then from third quarter to dark moon or new moon again is resting and composting and applying fertility and just, you know, giving back to the land. So that's how we work, just in those 4 sections of the month. And then we have our months of the year. So we have winter solstice, Blake just talked about that. So we know where the sun tracks between winter solstice and summer solstice. If you can't spend an entire season or more in one place, you can use an app called Sun Surveyor, and you can type in the exact location, or it picks up your location. You can type in the date and change it, and it will show you where the sun tracks at those different times. So we use that a lot at consultations where we're not able to observe everything on the land after an entire year. But if you can, that's even better. So we have, in June we have our winter solstice, in summer we have our summer solstice, and then we have our equinoxes. But here in the tropics, it's not as noticeable as places where you're further away from the equator, where you have your distinct seasons. But we do have seasons. If you tune in, you really notice what's changing. And so we here, from my experience, like I grew up in Townsville, which is dry country, in the bush there, and here it's the wet tropics, but you know, you can go out and there's, you know, it gets drier the further out that you go. But our wet season can generally start around November, like just before or just after, around that summer solstice time, right through to just before winter solstice. So depending on the year, like this seems like it's a bit of a wet season over here, but we haven't had any cyclones. Like it changes every year, but the larger pattern is that we have that full wet, and then we have our dry season. So all of those annuals that, you know, the European vegetables that you want to grow, that people like to grow, that we're accustomed to, that you can, you know, buy at the supermarket, we only have we have maybe May, June, July, August, September, October, maybe 6 months of the year to be able to grow those kind of things. And that could change. Like some months, April has been our wettest month. Sometimes we haven't got the wet season until February, but this year it started before Christmas, so before, you know, around November. Sometimes around October, November, we get really dry westerly winds come through, and it makes everything go to seed really quickly. So you'll learn these things over the years from observing. And so we've got 6 months to like put the seeds in and watch them grow and eat them. But the rest of during that time and throughout this whole other 6 to 8 months, we have all these amazing perennial plants, so that we can eat. Like there's so many spinaches out there. There is no reason to go to the shops and buy salad. And a lot of the perennial plants you can eat at different ages of maturity as well. So papaya you can eat when it's green. You don't just have to wait till it fruits. We've got a big breadfruit growing down the bottom there. That again you can eat before it's a soft fruit. You can eat. There's cassava. There's no need to grow potatoes because you can grow cassava all year round. Sweet potato grows all year round as well. Banana you can eat at different ages of maturity. Choco. Becky loves choco.
That's good choco, everybody. Good summer crop.
Yeah. And there's more, like we don't, we're working with what we're learning from our teachers and from seed savers and gardeners and people that we meet in every garden that we grow. Even clients that we go to, we're like, ooh, we like that. Can we have one of those and, grow from seed? And I don't think, there's just so much to learn about what grows here. This Davidson plum tree here, we've been building around it. It's like, take care of the Davidson plum. That it just drops fruit for us all the time. It's such an amazing plant. So if you haven't got one of those, and so this is the time of year as well where I'm not seeding. Like those beds are in rest at the moment. I don't have any annuals. Usually that's full of like mixed salad greens and rocket and things like that. Because they don't need a huge amount of sunlight. So that's all of our fresh salads in that front garden here. So we're just eating a lot of, the sweet leaf is crazy right now. Like we moved all of the Talinum spinach and things out of the way for pathways because of just, there's so much of those greens in abundance.
Tree lettuce.
Yeah.
Parsley, Lebanese cress, heaps of salad greens like that are growing through summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we've got cucumbers that are kind of just coming to the end now.
New ones coming on.
Yeah.
We've got snake beans. Yeah, we would usually have more snake beans and wing beans and other things going on, but we've literally just finished building, or Blake has finished building. So there's that timing as well. Like sometimes it's like the garden doesn't get as much energy because we're focusing on our zone 0 and getting the house done in sections.
Yeah, beautifully done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always something coming out of the garden at various times of the year in different pulses and different amounts, but we're trying to grow as much as we possibly can all the time. And at the moment, there's so many passion fruits happening, papaya and the bananas everywhere, and all the ginger and turmeric, and the cocoa yam as well. You'll see these large elephant ear plants around it. That's cocoa yam. So it's like a large taro, like a king taro. But you eat the side shoots, so they're a really nice potato. The corm it's called. The small corms.
And there's things like we've got so much like the passion fruit and the Davidson plums we take to a local organic shop and just trade with things that we don't grow here. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Oh,
We're
thanks.
talking about the positioning of the sun and that. So the northeast is virtually where you should start, depending on whether it's summer or winter. If you were to position, because I'm in the throes of just setting up a house, on a block of land, and but it seems to me that the back part of the house would be where the garden is, the veggie garden.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get you guys to come and do a plan for me anyway.
So what direction is the back area that you're saying?
It's northeast.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
northeast,
that's good.
and then you've got southwest in the front. So I'm hoping that we can get some food growing so that lots of food. And I've got a few trees already there that are established. And then others that we've been planting since we've been there, some fruit trees. Yeah. But in terms of, vegetable garden and the rest of it, that's where we need lots of help. And probably with how to grow the fruit trees even better, how to feed them.
Yeah, and topography plays a big part in it as well. Like this is our east side, but we've got forest around it. So our morning sun, it's later than people in different who don't have the forest there on their east side. So, it always helps to look at what the environment around you is like as well.
Oh,
All right.
beautiful. Thank you.
Go for a walk.
Santi's got a question. Well, this is the other thing. So we plant our plants in various locations. So you'll find some in different parts of our garden wherever you go. Do you know what it looks like? Okay, cool. Will you show me where you find it? And you're more than welcome to pinch off some tips and eat them or eat the leaves. We've got a giant patch just outside of our bathroom. I've had to tell the girls not to lean over because our shower, everything used to be on the ground. We've just put it on the deck now. But our shower, you know, we have Epsom salt shower baths, and our water goes out into our garden and feeds everything, waters it.
Good magnesium hit.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, so sweet leaf is one that just pops up by itself actually. When it starts fruiting, the birds eat it, and then you see around the edges of the rainforest, these sweet leaf patches popping up. Yeah, there's something in it. It's a high protein leaf, you know. The fresh tips are like asparagus, so
Yeah.
really good.
And people make pesto out of it,
Yeah,
and
you make
dry powder and put it in smoothies,
That's right.
and yeah,
It's
straight
the main
into
pesto
smoothies.
ingredient. We make
Just that, pretty
use
much.
sweet
A little
leaf
bit
and
of
whatever
that.
other herbs we can get. A bit of parsley, basil if it's in season.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can make pesto all year round just from the garden.
Yeah,
without having to
beautiful.
do too much effort. Yeah.
Yum.
Well, I can't wait
Thank
to
you.
see your garden. I can see your garden from here. But
Maybe we'll just, before we go on the walk, because that part's a little bit tight with people squished into that. But our chicken, do you want to talk about the integrated chicken coop and what we've got quite a few elements happening in that one place?
So I'll just guide you, just talk about where we're going to go. So we're going to go through this garden
Oh, I'll show you here.
up here, and then we're up to the chicken, up to the main veggie garden where the chicken coop is.
Up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, like that's the chicken coop, and inside the chicken coop area there's like a composting bay, and then that actually is up against our main veggie garden. So in summer, when it's all in shade and it's all full of other weeds and stuff, so all the perennials are really growing vigorously and nothing else, I pull the fence up and let the chickens go in for a good month, and they will just like weed and fertilise the whole veggie garden for me. And then come January, February, I'll close it off and then start preparing the vegetable garden again for the next season. So they help to like weed and fertilise the garden for me. Yeah.
And then we've got the compost that they turn for us. We've got the worm farm and Clucker Tucker and the
Yeah,
chopping
there's plenty
block.
of little elements in there. So that's like permaculture, just like multiple functions. Like each element may perform multiple functions. So the chicken coop, for example, is a multifunctional element. So like it gets eggs, it fertilizes, produces compost. Yeah, and then it also goes up against the veggie garden, so it's integrating elements together. So it's do less work for less, achieve more for less effort. So it's like stacking things together, multifunctional.
Lazy gardening.
Yeah.
We weed the veggie garden, we just like throw it over the fence to the chickens.
So having those elements together is really helpful. Yeah.
We have a chopping block in there, so we can take, just take things that we don't want to chop and drop it in its place. We can take it in there and just cut it up and put it down for them to work. Yeah.
So you'll go through there. We'll come back around, and we can go back around through the rest of the property, talk about different fruit trees around there, and come back through here, up this back gate here, and then walk around to the bananas, so I can show you around through the different systems we have. We can also end up at the compost, and if you're feeling energetic, we can grab a pitchfork and turn the compost.
Yeah, we may as well.
So show you how to make a compost frame.
We can
Way cheaper than you can buy anything from the plastic or cold compost.
Well, I mean,
ones
it's
you
not
buy.
cheap, but
But they're perfect for compost bins. I've got 2 at home. I turn them upside down. So cut the bottom off, which ends up the top, and I put a hinge. The last hinge I made was just some plastic that I had, just stiff plastic, and I just lift the lid. So I do away with the wheels and the proper lid.
yeah.
So the bottom becomes the lid.
Yeah.
The reason for that is it's like an ice cream cone, so it's easy to lift up
Yeah.
when I want to empty it. So they're for free.
Wow, that's a great resource. Yeah.
Awesome.
Even big pots as well, if you want.
Yeah.
Bit of everything, right? So we use like living edges. You obviously see that we've got like corrugated iron garden beds, raised edging. Yeah, logs are good. Rocks we use as well, but like you've got to consider every edge is where something wants to grow on the edges, regardless of what it is. It's going to get some plant in that edge. So we plant our edges up. So as you see around these veggie gardens here, we've got like Brazilian spinach, and we've also just got mondo, which isn't edible, but it's like something that fills that edges, so we don't need to weed it or whippersnip it. So regardless of what edging it is, either way it's going to have plants in it, and we normally just plant the edging up anyway. So yeah, banana trunks are great for a good start. You know, they provide, actually they help fertilise and so
for a veggie garden, like what we've got up the top, which, you know, we kind of will reapply compost and work the soil a little bit at the beginning of each season. We've come down to freeform beds because it's got good drainage and you can change it. And then we just, like, I'm starting to grow comfrey along there, Brazilian spinach. Yeah,
definitely easier to reset without the garden edging. So be able to then just fork it and loosen and add fertilisers to it without having to damage the edges. So you can bring materials in without having to break it. I mean, timber sleepers are great because they're tougher. They don't bend and break and chip and rust and all that stuff. So,
but they're also expensive too, and you can start a garden without too much. You don't need edging, you just need plants. Yeah. And if you're going to think, like, all of the microbes that are going to be in the root system around the plants that you use on edge are also contributing to the health of the soil. And any, you know, like even if we put compost or worm tea on the plants, if it doesn't get taken up by the plants, it's getting absorbed by the spinaches around the edges anyway. And we end up with so much of it that we use our kama and we just throw it over and feed it to the chickens as well. Or you could just put it straight back into the compost or just leave it on the ground. Yeah. It grows itself. You use the plants on the edge that grow themselves, but also feed you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Stop raining, so maybe now's a good time.
Yay!
Thank you.
Plantain, not too much happening in the herb style at the moment because it's just in summer and things are getting just not making it, but we'll refresh it soon and put some more things in it. The water kind of drains down here in the lowest spot here, so the fire, the wettest spot. In winter last year we had beans and tomatoes all growing through here, so this has gone from the annual garden, now it's become, all the perennials have then moved in, so soon we'll probably refresh this, pull out the perennials and then grow some more annuals, put some tomatoes and beans back on the trellis, and we had eggplants and capsicums in here, but yeah, the other foods moved in. It's a good problem. So weeding becomes like, oh, I better make a salad.
A big one. Invite the friends over.
How does the celery grow?
It grows quite well actually. Celery is something that grows well most of the year.
Yeah?
Yeah, it doesn't go to seed. It doesn't get cold enough, it just keeps on growing. Yeah, we just keep moving it around. And
Be good to get some seeds of that one for the season.
well, it doesn't go to seed.
Doesn't it at all?
No, it just eventually dies. I don't know, it's just, I don't know where we got it from actually, I think it's just
Okay.
I only plant one.
We did have the
like the,
Chinese celery somewhere.
We did.
Yeah, we did, but we need to get it back again.
from the local nursery store. We have done some fresh arborist mulch, which is like the fresh wood chip. Yep, that's free if you can get it, but down here it's pretty difficult to achieve. But yeah, so fill up the pathways with mulch, and then use hay for the top. So then every 6 to 12 months we would then dig the pathways out again and use that for the top. And what comes out of the pathways is like black humus. It's like broken down. It's all the fertilizers and nutrients we've been putting into the garden beds are then sunk into the pathways, and it becomes like a nutrient sink, which would then get put back on top. So it just helps keep the fertility up. Yeah, so that's what we've recently done, as well as just pulled the mesh up from the chicken coop area, and the chickens then are locked into this space, and they go between their coop and this area and weed it for us. So, yeah.
The chickens
Perennials.
behind there.
Chickens around the back there, yep. Yeah, so perennials around the edges, so that's a Madagascar bean against the fence there. That's one of our staple beans. We're looking forward to getting that's actually a new vine. We had a vine there, but somehow it died. We're getting some of the beans off it. So what's that?
All the ones around you, you remind them to breathe. Breathe, the spell's been broken. We've been running far too fast, too long. See, all life is calling out for a moment now to breathe. Listen to your heart, grow a little garden, feed the ones around you with your love. Listen to your heart, know that we are with you, be the shining forest that you are. Don't let the fear take you away. There's too much at stake. This is the path for which you were born. These are the times for which you were made. Don't let the fear take you away. There's too much at stake. This is the path for which you were born. These are the times for which you were made. Don't let the fear take you away. There's too much at stake. This is the path for which you were born. So lay your body to the earth. Lay your mind down for a while. Find the space between. Breathe, your skies are clearing. Breathe, the trees are singing to your lungs. Breathe, and all the ones around you,